This section of the program will cover the validity, reliability, and usability of the NASA-TLX. The validity of the NASA-TLX. Before we begin discussing the usefulness of the NASA-TLX, there are some concepts we have to understand. Validity, in this context, refers to whether the NASA-TLX is actually measuring what it is supposed to measure. In this case, whether the NASA-TLX actually measures mental workload. Validity can be compromised by the different definitions individuals assign to mental workload. There is great variation in the way people perceive such rating as: how physically was the task? Were you frustrated? Did it involve a lot of effort or none at all? Workload is a subjective measure, so the NASA-TLX must consider the various sources of loading and their effect on each individual. This means it has to encompass a wide range of sources for task workload, but at the same time remain specific and relevant to the task of interest. Weighing each subscale accommodates this source of error and ensures validity. This process is a counterstep to the great source of variability present in the subjective rating component of the NASA-TLX. Due to the nature of the 6 subscales, the NASA-TLX is able to cover a wide range of factors contributing to workload. Some combination of these subscales is likely to represent the workload experienced by most people performing most tasks. These scales also provide more recognized measures such as how frustrated were you during the task, versus asking how much mental workload was involved in the task. This makes the NASA-TLX much easier to understand and complete. These ratings can also help pinpoint the source of a task or performance problem, which demonstrates the continuing value of the scale. The validity of the NASA-TLX must be reassessed when applying to another language. The NASA-TLX has been translated into over a dozen languages, including French, German, Japanese, and Norwegian, among others. This requires validity to be reassessed to ensure nothing is lost in translation. Culture-appropriate translations have resulted in maintained validity across languages. The reliability of the NASA-TLX. Reliability refers to the consistency in a set of measurements. In other words, whether the NASA-TLX would produce the same result if completed several times by the same individual in the same situation. The reliability of the NASA-TLX has been proven several times and has therefore been applied to a vast number of work situations for its ability to produce effective mental workload measurements. Furthermore, the NASA-TLX is reliable when administered in any method, verbally, by pen and paper, or on a computer. In order to ensure high reliability, it is essential that sources of error are minimized throughout the administration of the NASA-TLX. Currently, there are 2 ways to compute overall mental workload. The 2-step process involves the 6 initial items, followed by 16 pairwise comparisons. The 1-step process only involves the 6 initial items. Not only is the second method less time-consuming and more convenient, but it has higher reliability than the first method. Adding the 16 comparisons in method 1 introduces an extra source of error and reduces the reliability of the NASA-TLX. The usability of the NASA-TLX. There are several features of the NASA-TLX that ensure it is easy to use for both the administrator and the individual completing the NASA-TLX. When compared to other subjective workload measures, the NASA-TLX has been shown many times to be preferable for participants. Furthermore, the NASA-TLX is also popular among researchers due to its ease of implementation. This concludes this section on validity, reliability, and usability of the NASA-TLX. Please continue with the remainder of the training program.